Great games never die. Here is the best video game on every mainstream system from the NES to the present. Contrary to its younger brother, A Legend of Zelda, and other cult classics like the Ocarina of Time, Zelda 2 is often bastardized as being the red-headed stepchild of the Zelda franchise. You either love it or you hate it. But it's hard to deny the evolution of gameplay in Zelda 2, as the game stands as being one of the earliest games that featured actual sword fighting in replace of the common button mashing that we'd all been accustomed to. Blocking, counterattacking, dodging, and range were all priorities, as was health and potion management and smart use of upgrade points. It was all necessary if you wanted to complete the horrifying Death Mountain run or some of the later stages of the game. But besides that, the game was a marriage of some of the best Zelda music, challenging dungeons, and interesting map design. It's easily my favorite NES game of all time. It's hard to deny that Final Fantasy IV, or 2 if you are American, was anything but a masterpiece for its time. The jump from the original Final Fantasy was stunning, exemplified by the use of more refined combat, advanced graphics and animations, and a deep and rewarding plot. The game's story follows Cecil, a dark knight, as he tries to prevent the sorcerer Golbez from seizing powerful crystals and destroying the world. Final Fantasy IV was a huge game, deep and satisfying at its heart, and it paved the way for sequel after sequel of great Final Fantasy games in the future by delivering such a strong foundation to the franchise. Believe it or not, Castlevania Bloodlines was the first and only Castlevania game on the Sega Genesis. Unlike other Castlevania games that take place mostly in Dracula's castle, Bloodlines has you travel across a war-ravaged Europe on the tale of Elizabeth Bartley, Dracula's niece, and stop her from using the souls of the dead to resurrect her uncle. On your quest, you can flip-flop between John Morris and Eric Lecard, both of which have different weapons and abilities. Bloodlines was just another fun ass-kicker Castlevania game, and the best game on the Genesis. Panzer Dragoon Saga was the swan song of the modern-day RPG, with a dark and solemn tone. Spanning 4 discs, Saga recounts the tale of Edge and his mystical dragon as they swear revenge on a man who killed his companions and decipher the mystery of a girl who has been kidnapped in the process. Unlike other turn-based RPGs of its time, Saga is an on-rails shooter with an amazing yet frequently obtuse story, and a game that no Saturn fan should have missed out on. Chrono Cross came to us when Squaresoft was at the pinnacle of its storytelling skill. The story of Chrono Cross focuses on a boy named Surge and a theme of parallel worlds. You journey through the game by foot and boat, meeting characters, asking them for their aid in battle, and uncovering the very enigmatic story of Lynx and the Frozen Flame. And then there was of course the very sophisticated grid-based elemental combat system that gets more complex and intricate as you play. Chrono Cross was an instant classic, and its story and soundtrack will never be forgotten. Soul Calibur presented the best possible version of three-dimensional fighting. This game crossed the gap between casual and hardcore fans, exemplified by its low skill floor, high skill ceiling combat system. And of course the state-of-the-art graphics, the kick-ass music, and the diverse cast of characters who all played very differently added a ton to the experience. There are too many great N64 games to name, but Banjo-Kazooie stands out above the rest. It's a culmination of Rare's talent and passion brought to life in glorious 3D, complete with ingenious level design and collectibles that were very fun to find, fun gameplay, and a very light-hearted story. No other game besides Mario 64 was able to maximize the potential of the N64 other than Banjo-Kazooie. Shadow of the Colossus stands out as a masterfully crafted action-adventure game by Team Ico and a spiritual successor to the legendary Ico. The game's storyline focuses on a young man named Wander who enters a forbidden land. Wander must travel across a vast expanse on horseback and defeat 16 massive beings, known simply as Colossi, in order to restore the life of a girl named Mono. Shadow of the Colossus is a game that defies traditional video game tropes. A game that focuses on isolated immersion, brought on by the combination of its empty and melancholic art style and the beautiful sound design that accompanies your journey. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic was a role-playing action game that received critical acclaim. The story of KOTOR takes place almost 4,000 years after the formation of the Galactic Empire, where Dark Malak has unleashed a Sith armada against the Republic. You play as a Jedi and must make various choices that will align your character with either the light or the dark side. Generosity and altruism lead to the light side, while selfish or violent actions will lead the player down to the dark side. Amidst the averageness of many Star Wars games, KOTOR stands out as being truly memorable. Although not everyone fell in love with it, the GameCube was a great system and had its fair share of very stellar games, not the least of which, Mario Sunshine. While not the best Mario game ever made, the mechanics introduced elevated the classic Mario formula to new heights, with great innovations such as the robotic backpack flood that allowed Mario to reach new places and tackle new challenges. This was just a very fun game. It's only fitting that the last great PlayStation 3 game was the system's best. A fungal outbreak has wiped out most of humanity in The Last of Us, transforming humans into cannibalistic monsters known simply as infected. Joel himself stumbles into a situation way out of his control and must protect Ellie, who holds the cure for humanity inside her body, through an incredibly emotional journey. The Last of Us showed the PS3 generation that storytelling, gameplay, horror, and emotions could live side by side in a cinematic, narratively driven experience. It's a game I'll never forget and my favorite game of all time. Commander Shepard's journey started with the original Mass Effect, a critically acclaimed action role-playing game set in future space. The game felt like a journey. It was so fun and so long, filled to the brim with character development, adventure, and morality choices via the radial command menu. The Paragon and Renegade paths were a derivative from these choices, and let players define their own virtues that could be used in future games to continue their character development. Xenoblade Chronicles came out of the blue for the Nintendo Wii, an action RPG on a system that had cast aside many of its classic RPG franchises such as Final Fantasy in favor of more family-friendly games. But that didn't stop Xenoblade from being one of the best games on the platform, if not the best, and a true innovator at the time when open-world role-playing games were not all that common. Bloodborne took the classic formula and modified it to suit a more action-oriented crowd. The result was a game that sets you on a pilgrimage of difficulty, hard from the start only to get harder, requiring you to exercise patience, dexterity, and aggressiveness all at once. Bloodborne exists as a message to developers. Great spin-off games can be created from the molds of successful games if enough care, attention, and iteration are practiced. Forza Horizon 3 is a game that just wants you to have fun. The controls have never been more tight and responsive in the series, and with the open-world Australian outback as your playground, it's never been more enjoyable to play a Forza game. So many things to do, 350 cars to do it with, and all those festivals to go to makes Forza the straight-up best game on the Xbox One. We all know that The Witcher 3 is not a PC exclusive, but there's no way I'm leaving it off this list. I once thought that The Witcher 2 was the best game in the series, but I recently had an epiphany regarding how good The Witcher 3 actually is. I took my time on my latest playthrough, I completed every mission, sought out every last detail, and I followed every breadcrumb trail that I could find. I became immersed. Geralt's journey is one of such stunning quality and detail that it's hard to pull away. Difficult to avoid entrancing over the complexity of Yennefer, Ciri, or any of the other wonderful characters that you come across. The Witcher 3 is not the standard for open world games. It's the new gold standard for video games. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, by all means give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and tell me what your favorite games list is down below in the comment section. Have a kick-ass day, dudes.